This episode is brought to you by the Deeper Christian Life Network. The Deeper Christian Life Network is an online network designed for mentoring and connection among those who want to deepen their spiritual walk. The network includes exclusive masterclasses that you can take at your own pace and much more. The masterclasses are conference messages based on themes and or letters in the New Testament that cannot be accessed anywhere else. The network opens up for registration periodically throughout the year. Go to thedeeperchristianlife.com and check out samples and join the wait list if you're interested. Hi, fun seekers. Welcome to another edition of the Christ is All podcast. Now, today I am speaking particularly in this episode to people who are involved in ministry, especially speaking, that is, preaching, teaching, exhortation, etc. If you are not in that category, you certainly know some people who are. This would be pastors, traveling teachers, professors of Bible college, seminaries, missionaries, etc. And as you know, my eye is always on the next generation. Right now, I am working with 11 ministers, all of whom are in their 30s, a few in their early 40s. That said, even though that's my target audience for this particular episode, it's also for all Christians, because I think whether you're in ministry or not, you are called to serve the Lord, and there's no doubt that you have friends, or maybe even family members, who are in the kinds of ministries that I have just outlined. So let me begin with a story. Many years ago, a very godly woman who was part of Watchman Nee's ministry is reported to have said repeatedly to the Lord, quote, "Where are the workers?" End of quote. And this woman allegedly had the gift of intercession in a rare form. She did not need sleep. The Lord had taken that requirement away from her, and so she was a 24-hour intercessor. And she regularly interceded to God to raise up young men to be workers who would raise up the ecclesia. Now, if you're a woman, don't get offended. This was just her particular burden. As you know, I believe that women are involved in the Lord's work. Women are just as part of the believing priesthood as are men, and they are called of the Lord as well. Anyway, as the years roll by, this same question that this woman regularly brought before the throne beats in my own heart. I meet a lot of young men who are in ministry or who are going to seminary. Some of them have graduated from seminary. By the way, a number of the people who I'm working with have been to seminary. Now, that's a parenthesis. But so few of the young men who I meet who are in ministry, whether they're pastors, Bible teachers, missionaries, and those who are going to seminary or who have been to seminary, lack spiritual insight and experience. And even more than that, there are few of them who have a deep hunger for the Lord Jesus Christ, to know Him beyond the degree to which they know Him now. So few gravitate to the deeper things of God and even recognize them when they're presented, despite their schooling, their degrees, their zeal, their ability to speak publicly, etc. Now, there is an episode on the Insurgents podcast, which is my other podcast, and it was an interview that I did with a dean and a professor at Asbury Theological Seminary. And he grilled me with many questions about ministry, about my experience, and even about my burden. And it is number 76 of the Insurgents podcast. It's entitled Kingdom Ministry, Past, Present, Future. And so that is a supplement to this particular episode, and it's much more expansive. Anyway, I am often asking the Lord, where are the workers? So few who really are hungry and thirsty to learn from those with more experience. Hungry and thirsty for the Lord, not more power, more influence, more academic knowledge, more credentials, better strategies, better methods, etc. All of those latter things are very common in people who are involved in ministry today. Very common in the pastorate, very common among contemporary ministries. But those who have a heart for the deeper things of God, those who truly are called to the Lord's work and are willing to be prepared spiritually. And brothers and sisters, a seminary education does not do that. A seminary education is good for giving you academic knowledge. It does not prepare you spiritually for the Lord's work. And that has been echoed over and over and over again. Now, there are two things I want to leave you with. One of them is, if you feel you are called to the Lord's work, there is a book entitled Finding Organic Church. Now, you can put your ecclesiology aside, but I wrote that book for those who are called to raising up the house of God. And in it, you will see the spiritual preparation that marked every Christian worker in the first century. And I believe that that preparation is in the DNA of God's work, transcending time and space. So, Finding Organic Church, as I wrote that book, I had all of the young believers that I've met over the years who were gifted. And by young, I don't mean young in the Lord necessarily, but the next generation. The other resource I would encourage you to look at, if you are in ministry, is the Insurgents Experience. And you'll find links to both of these resources in the show notes. That is, if you have Podbean and some of the other podcast apps that allow show notes to be clickable. If not, you can just go to ministrymind.org, ministrymind, all one word, .org. And Ministry Mind is the name of the mastermind that I used to facilitate for people in ministry of any age, male and female. We held those from 2015 all the way to 2020. But beginning in 2021, we upgraded it to the Insurgents Experience, which is a 1-year mentoring mastermind program. And as I said in the beginning of this episode, right now I'm working with 11 people who are in ministry. And beginning next year, I don't know what the number will be. It could be 11 again, but it will not surpass 11. So if you're interested, you could read all about it, and then you could apply. And again, if you have people in mind who are in ministry, who you believe are gifted and would benefit from the Mentoring Mastermind, by all means, send them the link, ministrymind.org. And if it is on your heart as well to ask the question, where are the workers? Then I would enlist your prayers that the Lord would raise up young people who will be willing to put their hand to the plow, to be properly prepared and trained God's way, not man's way. I'll see you in the next episode.